Okay. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, May 12th. Hope you had a great weekend, great Mother's Day, great every day. And yeah, the market's gapping up this morning. Does this mean that we are ready to blast off into outer space? Well, what do you think, Tracker?
I say don't be fooled. It's gapped up, but right to resistances. So we'll take a look at some charts here this morning. It would be great if it just took off, but I suspect we might start with a pullback, and I'll give you some clues as to why in a minute here. But why don't we just once you go ahead and start us off with your morning open?
Yeah, so here we are with the SPY, and we are doing something important this morning, even though we are approaching this 1.618 fib again as resistance, but we're gapping up above the 50-week moving average and the weekly cloud. So this is a very powerful thing, and I think it should be taken seriously because we once we lost it, it was just a big volatility. So I think reclaiming that could really stabilize the markets, could really stabilize everything, and then the risk of really going back down to the 540s and below is kind of mitigated right now. So gapping up above this 568 above the cloud as well around that same zone is a great thing. So that's really all I'm going to care about for the weeks to come is stabilizing on top of this cloud and that 50-week moving average to continue to break above this 1.618. So I don't necessarily care if it breaks above this week. We are at resistance. It is 550, sorry, 585. We are at 582 pre-market, so that's $3 away basically from resistance. So you got to be careful at resistance. You got to be cautious because this was a previous support zone. And every support zone that once it breaks, it is considered resistance. But I love the progress. I don't care it's at resistance. I mean, I'm not going to be buying up here. The opportunities were all in this zone, really. So, what we're going to watch for now is any kind of successful backtest of the cloud and that would be in the 570s once again. So this could be something good for the future, but be a little bit cautious pre-market here, uh, and during the whole week, really, until we can get confirmation to break above. QQQ, we can see it's gapping up above the 1.414s and the 50-week moving average and on top of the cloud, but it's been on top of the cloud for the past 3 weeks, and that was kind of a clue, right? Ever since it broke back above back on April 21st, it's been closing weekly candles for 3 weeks in a row above that cloud. So that was really stabilization itself on top of that cloud. And now we have even more confirmation that perhaps this 1.414 does want to be a support again, 497.46. So that is going to be my main focus for the rest of the week and for the weeks to come, right? As long as we stabilize on top of this previous support zone, which was also a previous resistance zone, now flipping back to a support, it has the potential to stabilize on top of that zone to go to the higher levels. So that's what I'm watching for the rest of the week, 497.46. IWM, and this is gapping up way high, right? We can even see it's gapping up above multiple things. The 100-week moving average, the baseline, the 618, the 208.74, and it's even getting inside the weekly cloud again, right up here, right? It's going to maybe even open up inside of the cloud, which possibly means that it can go towards the 50-week moving average and the 702, the 214s, the 216s above. So I do like this development a lot. And really, what I'm going to be watching is this 208, right? This 208 zone here. This is what I care about the most. Now, I want to see that price stabilize on top of there. And if that's possible, then we can see it journey higher and higher. And Bitcoin here, we can see that it did close above my 102.076, but more importantly, the log scale fib, it also closed above and it's still currently holding. So we've only had this one time before in the history of Bitcoin, and that was right here. It closed one weekly candle above it, and the rest never closed above once. So we have reclaimed this log based fib. So I think this is the only thing I care about for Bitcoin right now. 103,611. If this holds, then you know what? It's going higher. And how high is it going to go? Well, we can use the linear scale again here. You got the arc above around 113, 114, and then you got the upper arc here in the 130s, and then you got this 2.272 at 137. So I think it will be trying to challenge previous all-time highs. You can see all these wicks right here. This is going to show you that there is a lot of selling pressure still in this zone. Whenever you see a lot of wicks at previous all-time highs, you know that's a lot of selling pressure. Some people are going to say, "Oh, it's distribution; it's not going to make all-time highs." But I think the real sign is this 103,611. If it stays on top of it, it'll probably break out.
Man, I'm so excited. Let me show my Bitcoin chart right here. Let's see. So the larger degree fib extensions, my next target is up here at 125,616. No, I'm sorry. 109,970. 109,970. With maybe a pullback and then 125,616. That would invalidate. Well, it would just 103,611 though. So I don't know. Maybe it's going to keep. Maybe it is going to keep going. There is a concept. Remember that Katz talked about in the past. It's called an island bottom, where you get what am I drawing tool? Prices on some mib, and then it breaks down, and then it gaps down, and it does something down here for a while, and then suddenly it gaps back up again, and it doesn't necessarily fill this gap up again because it matches this gap, and what's down here is just called an island bottom. So I don't see a clear island bottom with a lot of these stocks, but it just has that feel. I don't know. So yeah, I'm looking at the same thing on my other screen. If I go to this 1-hour chart right here, just looking at Bitcoin on the 1-hour chart, here's my moving average 75. And I posted on X a little while ago, if price loses this moving average 75 here at 103,747-ish, and you can see where I wicked below it and then we're back above it again. But if it loses that, then I think we'll get a sell-off open. It closes the gaps, and then as soon as the gaps are closed, then the market will take off, generally speaking. Um, or this is an island bottom, and it just keeps going from here. So what I did, just to tell you myself, I TX and PTIR and PSLL. I sold just a quarter of stuff in case we get a gap close, but I kept most of my stuff open because the gap fill could be non-existent. The gap fill could be really fast. I'm hoping we get a gap fill and it's really fast. They get to buy back down here, and it goes up again. But yeah, that's just kind of it. Overall, what Matt has shown with the Bitcoin is yes, it has indeed closed a week on top of what was resistance. And so overall, I'm looking for all this to go higher and higher. Besides whatever it does between here and here, my next larger degree target is the top of the cycle, right? 180,000. It's my next cycle top target. I think we've already hit the third. This was the bottom of the fourth, and we're heading into the fifth wave now. All right, that's how I see it on Bitcoin. And then I'll show Tesla real quick. I'd shown you guys this chart for weeks. Well, it feels like weeks. I guess it's just been for about a week now. That just from this high up here, 488.54, and then it dropped all the way down to 214.25. Just an ABC back up would take it to 40. Well, the 618 is 383.76, but I started to extend it based on the way the sell order blocks looked here. And so I said 319.03 could be next. And guess what? We pretty much open just right under here in the pre-market around 319.03, and prices a couple dollars over it now. So looking to see if it does a test back. It doesn't have to go to 278.98. This could stay really bullish. Maybe it only tests back to like halfway between and closes that gap. The gap close is the Friday 10 a.m. high was 307.21. And then anyway, B down, and then the C is up here. Like I said, either the 786 retracement, about almost $430, but my 76.4% fib extension is 409.01. So I've got kind of between, I say 406. Oh, I pulled these two, 680 to 429.84, but really I'm kind of looking at 409 or 429.84. So yeah, just looking for higher with Tesla, and then of course this thing just keeps on going. My next target after that is 657.88. All right, so long bullish on Tesla. Just this morning, don't try not to chase it any higher yet. Let's see what the open gives us. All right, back to you, Matt.
Yeah, I just wanted to show one thing with Tesla here. We can see that it's been following the market symmetry perfectly. So we do have major resistance coming up here at the arc up here, which is going to be maybe in the 350s. But before that, we have something to overcome, and that's going to be the 20-week moving average. And it's perfectly illustrated here on the bull market support band. And we can see that the red line up here is that 20-week moving average. So that's 322. 56, and it's a little bit below it right now pre-market. So this is going to be resistance unless maybe it can gap up and open up above, then perhaps it can keep going higher. But again, like this, the true risk reward for this stock was all down here. Every time people were saying, oh, it's going to collapse, it's going to collapse. So I'm like, no, history, if it's any guide, it's just proving that it wants to maintain this angle as a support. And sure enough, that's exactly what it did. So we are at resistance now. We have more resistance above, but it's just probably going to be maybe in a battle this whole week to see if it can break above. But in the meantime, I'm going to be watching the bottom here, which is the 21 EMA, and that's around 296. So I'll be seeing that as support for the week and resistance in the 320s here to try to break above. So Tesla does look better and better, but as usual, it's approaching some resistance again.
Yeah, when these
So
gap ups, they always run right to a main support or right to a main resistance,
yeah,
typically,
but nobody seems
because
to
the
care about it
market's
when it's
front running.
nobody seems to care about when it's going higher, but they all care about breaking support when it goes lower, huh?
That's true.
Yeah, it's
That's
always
the
it's interesting how
unfortunate
people's philosophy.
mentality. I
Yes.
literally posted that this morning. I said, like, the psychology of it is of humans is we always wanna follow the winners and scorn the losers, but you have to have exactly the opposite mentality for, success in the
Yeah,
markets. I
but
just do
in
wanna say real quick
actuality, yeah,
with Tesla, look for 350.22. If price does keep going as it on the open, 352.22 is right where about my 618. That's about where Matt just said his resistance was. That could be where it stops and then pulls back. So I'm sorry, Matt. You go ahead with what you were saying.
yeah. No, it's just something like this where market symmetry is always the number one thing for Tesla. It breaks through fibs, it breaks through moving averages all the times, upwards and downwards, but it respects the symmetry all the time. So I think we need to take that the most seriously on this chart. And so the biggest resistance, yeah, like Traeger said, 350, right? Right up here is going to be around the 353, 354 zone as well for the arc. So be very careful in that zone. But I'll do a chart request here. I'll start with Grab. It looks like somebody's asking for your SoFi and Oscar there tracker. But for Grab right here, we're finally gapping up above the 382, the 491, and this is about time, right? It's been a major battle for a long time of this 491, and it looks like we do have the potential to finally open a weekly candle above it. We have not opened a weekly candle above that 491 since basically back in December of last year, before all this meltdown, and now we are finally there. Even this candle right here did not open above it. It did close above it, but finally we are going to get that open. So if this is the case now, we're going to see the next major resistance zone up here at the 630s. We do have resistance with these big wicks right here as well, maybe in the 530s or so, but 630 is going to be the target that I'm watching above. So Grab looks more and more bullish. All I care about now, stay above 491, and that goes higher. And then I can do LUMN as well. Lumen Technologies. This one, we can see if we just pull up a fib, I think that'll tell us a story here from a long time ago, right? We can maybe use something in this vicinity up here. And we can see that, yeah, it started to flip the 382 back to support last week, right? And I think that was a key to reclaim to go higher. We can even put on some of the other moving averages as well. And we can see that the conversion line is now a support, and also the 50-week moving average is going to be your next resistance at 484. So I think the key here is stay above 382 for LUMN, and this goes higher. All right, that's the bottom line for Lumen.
I love the look of the bottom of that cloud. There's lots of room to get there.
Yeah, there is.
All right, I got SoFi and Oscar here. Here's my SoFi chart. Thank you, Matt. You can see the MCDX Plus says that people are really happy about it. These are 8-hour candlesticks. Buying in hard. My target, just based on the sell order block up here last week, was 61.8% fib at 1709, and it still is. There's a teeny tiny gap up, but it's not that big. So my next overall target, 1709. Even if it drops a little bit, it won't drop much. It probably just keep running. 1709 is resistance. Then look for, normally after a 618 move, it would come out to the 236 for maximum emotional damage. But there is a chance that the 38.2 at 1374 will be your support on the way back. So watch, maybe sell into strength in 1709, start buying around 1374, but leave some dry powder to grab the best reentry around 1166 for SoFi. Oscar Health. So this is another one, the ones that I was telling my subscribers, it looked really good because it was still below the 236 last week. And then we got above it on through Thursday. My next target is the minimum target is the 38.2% fib at 1950. So watch 1950. It could, a lot of charts, I've just been, like I've been telling you about, going conservative, going 382, 236, but it could extend to the 618 up here at 2464. So if it doesn't stop at 1950, watch for 2464 extension, and then that would basically just move this up. It could still probably 33, even after going as high as 2464. Again, for maximum emotional damage and making the market get you to sell your shares a little too early. That's pretty much it. If it does stay the 382, 236 or 618, 236, the next target is still 123.6 later at 3807. There you go, Oscar Health. Looking pretty good. It looks pretty oversold right now on the 8-hour, on the weekly. There's plenty of room for it just to keep going. So, all right, what's next?
I got some Poet. Don't you know it?
All right,
Ooh.
you do Poet. I
Poet,
do
we can see
NU.
it's breaking above. It's breaking above the 200-week moving average. It's breaking above the 618 fib, 426, and 432. So yeah, it's reclaiming a lot of previous resistance right now and flipping it back to a support. So we can see the momentum is to the upside now. And the next major zone is that baseline and that 543 fib up top, right? The 702, 543, maybe 544. So I think it has room to go higher. And the main thing I'm watching is support holding of this 430 zone. That's it. That's all.
All right, I
Oh, I
got
can
my.
do
Oh,
NU. Or do you have NU?
I got NU, but we could both do it if you want.
Yeah. No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, here's my NU chart. Last time we looked at this, obviously it was shortly after March 3rd, because when I drew it back then, it looked like that was the bottom, and I was projecting higher. But while this is still the top adjustment, this is the bottom now for the 1-2, all the way from. Oh, I took it from the beginning of time. It's all time low. So this one had a leading diagonal up, which means it could do a leading diagonal down, which it kind of looks like it did. Anyway, bottom right here. Let's just pull this over to here. And my next target at minimum is still the 382 at 1391 now. So 1391, and look, we're almost there already. If that's where it stops, then it pulls back to the 23.6 at 1199. Let's see how much left we have here. Yeah, it's just like another percent from where price is now to 1391. Then maybe get a pullback. Look, right there. I don't see a lot of sell order blocks on this. There's oh, wait, that's the wrong sorry. I was trying to change the just the daily, and somehow I got a different chart. Still no s there's a little clue, yeah. That's like the 50%. If price gets over the goes over 13.91, let's look for the 50%, extension at 1547. So look for the 1547 if it doesn't stop at 13.91. Go up to 13.91, back to $12. Then my next target is 25.17 after that, which is lovely because that means that price would go where it is right now, 98% higher. And if it did test back to the 236 and you bought it then, that's 111% higher. So yeah, looking pretty nice with NU. All right, Matt, back to you.
Okay. Yes. Let me do XRP. XXRP. No, not XXRP. Just XRP. XRP. So yeah, I'm gonna have the same thing, the 20-week moving average of the bull market support band. I want to show you guys that because after closing above the 886, the 225, it did make its way towards that 20-week moving average, and now it's breaking back above. So that's 242,777. So that's the main thing I'll be watching for XRP, right? Flip that bull market support band back to support, then yeah, it's kind of game on to continue its journey higher and higher. And we are seeing that with the price action right now. It is continuing higher. It was almost to 260 this morning. It actually got to 259,484. So pretty close. But are we going to break out of that 260 zone? Well, we got to go to the linear scale fibs to really take a look. And you know what? That 786 on linear scale is 263, 156. So I think we're going to be a little bit range bound for XRP. We are approaching that big resistance zone. And this is going to be, I think, the last hurdle before it tries to break towards all time highs. So it's 263. Try to break above that. But in the meantime, let's hold 242 as a support.
All right, I've got BNTX. I've never looked at this before. Big 1-2 on it, from the all-time low to the all-time high to the higher low that it hit here. And it's got a lot of possibilities, but you can see the time scale we're looking at. These are weekly candlesticks. So, but what if it goes 382, 236? Oh, I got to do this like this. Times I forget to pull this far enough. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 6, 4, 2, 2, 3, 6. So lots of potential with BNTX, but I can never tell the speed of these things. Sometimes I was just telling someone else this morning. Sometimes biotech feels a bit like precious metals miners, where you spend a long time like waiting for it to do something. Then it spikes up in one day, and then sells off, and then it goes to sleep for like another months or years. But yeah, and then I really need the 11.4 on here. There you right here. Um, on the way to the 236, oh look, it was already resistance twice. Once, bang, bang. So yeah, even if you just bought some BNTX now and were willing to wait for a little bit while the rest of the market decides that it's worth going back into again, 38% higher to 11.4, 97% higher just to fail to get a higher than the 23.6 fib, and at minimum, the next higher high should be 248.99 or 169. But if you trade this, come back to me after we get over 128 and ask for another chart again. I'll tell you. We'll see how it's going. I do have an
Okay.
XXRP chart because I was trading it myself. I kind of dumped it on Friday because I was worried what it might the weekend. I wasn't worried enough that it might do really well. Where is this is a 1-hour candlestick chart because XXRP is not that old. I was looking for 618236, and it went past the 764. So I don't know what to think about this right now, other than it could go. Never really tested back 32236. It really looks like it. Let's look at the 100% and then the 50%. So maybe 44, 43. and that pulls back to the 50%. I gotta change some of these presets to 36.49. That's what I'm gonna look for. If I see it drop to 36.49, I'm gonna buy a bunch of it. Well, I said the same about Palantir. I'm doing the thing with Palantir too. PTIR is gonna be really good on and HIMS, HIMZ on pullback. All right, that's my XRP chart.
Yeah, I
Or I
got
could show my HIMS.
AST. Yeah,
Okay.
you can yeah, do him first. Go ahead.
Okay, this is not HIMS HIMS, this is HIMS HIMZ, where I was looking for 36.50 to be resistance and drop back to 30.38. It did not do that. It went higher to this Matt's 127%, 127.2% extension. Drop back to just a little bit below the 786, maybe the 70.2 on Friday morning. And with this gap up, it looks like it wants to go to the 2382 at 52.53. I think we're on our way. So this might just fill all the way on up, and then the ABC will be what fills the gap on the way back down. And I'll have that for you later. I won't. I'm not going to bore you with it right now. But 52.53 is my top target now for HIMZ. If it does fill this gap at pre-market, I'm going to buy so much of that because it's going to go. Where'd my fib go? Accidentally delete it. There it is. Yeah, goes right to there from here. If it fills that gap, that's a 43% move almost, and that'll probably go really fast. All right, there's my HIMZ.
All right, I got
Oh, Bitfarms won't hold it. Go ahead,
ASTS
Matt.
right here. Yeah, so ASTS, it looks
Space
like it's
Mobile,
gonna
right?
gap up above some yeah, Space Mobile, yes. We can see, ASTS is gapping up again above some important things. It already held this 25.37, this previous high level, as a support for the past couple of weeks, but now it looks like it's even gapping up above the baseline here, so we'll watch that, 26.50. If it can start to flip all these indicators to a support, then I think we can continue the journey higher, so, yeah, the resistance is going to be above here with this angle and all these previous highs, which kind of coincide around the $33, $34 zone. So that's going to be the next major place to break above. And if it can break above that, then we can possibly see price go to the $50 zone. But right now, I want to see stabilization on top of this baseline, on top of the conversion line, on top of that $25 zone. So yeah, just keep this 26, $25 zone as support, and I think it goes higher.
All right, I want to show my VIX chart real quick, and then I'll show ACHR, which looks like they've got earnings. Here's my VIX chart, and then you can see up here, fear is about 28.43, greed is 22.09 for me, and we gapped down deep into greed, and you can see the Ichimoku clouds building. It just really wants to keep pushing it lower, just like Matt. So here we are. We're in the trend. On Friday, I was worried about potential mean reversion back to my moving average 75 up here, just on the fear side of greed, but no, we went in the opposite direction. So yeah, things are looking pretty snazzy. I wonder if the VIX will just run back and close the gap as well. So I'm going to set an alert right here and at the baseline, and then right here at the gap fill. All right, that's three crows will talk to me about that. And then what did I say I was going to do? Oh, ACHR. All right, ACHR has been a great stock. Just been a great trading stock. Yeah, so the 382 was the top target. It hit that. I'm still looking forward to come back to the 23.6. It doesn't feel like it wants to do that, but man, it could still do it. So it's up to you. I mean, you could buy here some. If you've got it, you could sell a little bit. But you could wait and see if it goes higher. If it tests the previous high here at 99. Anyway, if it pulls back to 797, like I think it will, that's where you want to buy the most, because then it's gonna run up to the 123.6. Let me get the chart bigger here. Yeah, 180 sorry, 1882 is my next target, which from where price is right now, even if it drops a little bit, you'll still end up in profit, 113% higher. If it does go down to the 23.6 and you grab it near 797, that's like 134% higher. So yeah, ACHR, maybe the earnings will make it drop and then it'll bounce back. So yeah, that's it. Just yeah, set your buy order uh, just over 797. All right, that's ACHR.
Okay, I got ASPI. I think I skipped that one, but yeah, here's my ASPI. We can see that price is gapping up a little bit too above the baseline. So this has been resistance for a while now, and it's finally trying to get back above it. It hasn't really closed a weekly candle above that for a while. So the last time it was basically back in February, and it has the opportunity this week to do it. So we'll watch that 649 as a support, and if that can hold, then it can venture on towards the resistance above 759. So it is back above the cloud. It's above a lot of major support. So this is a good, right? And the last thing to do is now close weekly candles above this baseline to continue to that 759. So I do think this chart has that potential, but it's got to prove it to us by stabilizing on top of that baseline right there. And I do see a question about coin. Why is coin not doing anything when Bitcoin's near all-time highs? Well, every chart has their own, right? Their own levels, their own important stuff. And if we look at this chart here with that this blue GAN level, big resistance for the past 3 weeks. Boom, boom, boom. Right. So this is basically 211, 210. That zone, it could not break above it. So we are seeing still resistance in that area. But it is getting a little bit more and more bullish. It's looking like it wants to try to break that resistance maybe soon. And after that would be the 223, then the bottom of the cloud, the 230s, and then the baseline's way up here at 246. So I think we're looking at some just consolidation period right now for coin, getting ready to go higher. And coin likes to do its own thing all the time, right? It likes to go below the cloud too, then break above. It likes to just make people give up before it really starts to launch. And I think we're at a point where it is getting ready to do something more interesting. And it's interesting because the last time it had really bad earnings was kind of like right here back in October, right? We can see that the earnings were down 32%, and we just had bad earnings down 87%. And then the following week, it just launched, right? So we could see something soon where if altcoins continue to perform well, this could have a very good weekly candle close coming soon. So I'll be watching that soon, but right now it's at resistance.
Yeah, I'd say Coin and Conel, they're just really good long holds. They really do have a lot of potential to go higher. If you want something fast, if you're, like, impatient, go with Palantir or PTIR because that thing really is rocketing up. I'll show that in a second, Palantir. Here's MicroStrategy by request. Um, Off of this, all-time high and then the higher low that it made from the beginning of time, um, just again, the bare bones 382,236. We're at that 382 now at resistance at 429.30. Looks like the market is prepared to, uh, sell off from the all-time high again. So, could it extend to the 618? Yes, it could. Um, but yeah, it could also come back to the 236 at 351.22. Just be careful in here. If it gets more than halfway to 492, then I would expect it to go to 492. And then if it gets more than a third of the way, actually, if it gets it all past the 50% level, then I would expect it to go to 61.80. And then you still get a potential for a pullback to the 23.6 here. I did see a couple charts that did do a 61832. Maybe that's going to be the flavor of 2025. I don't know. I'll tell you more as I see more smaller degree charts and what they do. But right now, this is normally I'd say MicroStrategy is at resistance. Uh, yeah, so be careful. And then Palantir, PLTR. So here's my brand new Palantir chart. Oh wait, I should first say that there is a lot of gain to be had with MicroStrategy. Why are you so slow? I forgot to pull my percentage fib here or my percentage thing here. All right, so my next target is the $886, or from last time we talked about it, it was 134% higher. From here, it's about 110% higher. If it does drop back to 351, that's 154% higher to the wave 3 top. But from here, it's still a good setup. All right, Palantir. My brand new Palantir chart, it's looking so hot, so spicy. Because high and this higher low is just a giant 1-2 setup. And so my next target for Palantir is the 764, the very bullish 764 at 156.69. And Matt's had some resistance levels on his charts that seem to coincide with that. And then it could drop all the way back to 111.05. So yeah, look for from where price is right now. This could run another, and then PTIR, of course, it's double that, like 60% higher. And then I'll shut up and let Matt talk, and do another request.
I think that'll be it for me for today.
Oh,
I'll
no! I
do
ran the mouse
one.
too much.
Yeah, it's already time to go. I'll do one more because I think I missed it. The OLO.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, this is my last one that I'll do, but I wanted to just point this one out that it did start to break above that 236, and once it did that, it was a clear sign that I wanted to continue its journey higher, right? So that 236 was a big level, and the next big resistance is going to be this 1076 up here, and it
Ooh.
could have the potential. It could have the potential to get there because once it gets above some of this resistance right here, all these little wicks right there, then I think it
Mhm.
could just start to melt up to that 1076. So I'll be watching this resistance zone right here, see if it can break above. But yeah, 1076 could be the next target for OLO. It got pretty explosive after breaking above this 236 fib.
That looks
So that's it
delicious.
for me.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Matt. So just, be careful out there. It's gonna be a wild open. It's either gonna run back down and then run up after it closes the gap, or it's just gonna keep running, and we'll be looking over our shoulder at that gap.
Yeah, I just I don't like to chase. That's not my style. I like to buy the pain, but most people don't because they are afraid. So yeah, be cautious out there at resistance. But I think if we can break through, good things to come. We'll find out.
Yeah. Keep an eye on the VIX, but also keep an eye on Bitcoin, and Matt's 103,611 level. As long as it stays above that, it will probably want to keep going higher, and everything else will too.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. See you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks, Matt. Bye.